Reload. Ready?
Yeah.
You look ready.
And are you ready to end the week? Because this is At Week's End, where we go back through and look at the comics from this week that we enjoyed reading, some stuff we watched on TV or in movies, and talk about some of the news that's coming out, stuff to look forward to. We're going to do it, all of that, right after this button right here. What is going on, Paul? How are you tonight?
Good. See that after this is not as easy as people think.
It's not. I've got so much extra stuff in my StreamYard right now from doing a lot of work on the channel today. I'm scrolling. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. It's farther down now. It's down there. But before we go any farther, we got Paul from Sector 2815 here as always. And we also have Paul back on track this week with his regular scheduled programming, where you can find us over on his channel starting tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., Mark and I will be taking a look at Absolute Batman number 4. And then on Wednesday night at 9:30, we will have Guest IKEA's back after the holidays.
Yeah, who's joining with us that
we
Wednesday?
will have making his next stop on his birthday YouTube tour. It is Cliff on comics, and also Tony Gross, Comiverse, making his first appearance.
Tony's going to be there. Nice.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Dude, Cliff is going strong with his birthday tour this year. Like
Yes.
I'm impressed. He was just on earlier with MJ. He was on with Matt over at Heroes for Hire. He's not stopping anytime soon. I'm excited. I hope he's keeping tally.
And we're not even halfway through the month yet.
Yo, like legit, it would be awesome if he does a video at the end of the month to be like, I had a good, bad, middle of the road birthday, whatever. Here's what I did. It has like a 3-second clip from each of the show and just puts them all together, where he just like goes through the month of him popping up on everyone's different streams. That would be really, really cool if that was like an annual thing for him. Yeah, someone should think of that.
I think someone just did.
I think Cliff should think of that. It'd be a lot better if Cliff thought of it. But yeah, there's some cool stuff to talk this week, especially in the comic realm. You know, I'm pumped for this. We had the return of Aquaman this week, and I've been doing as much as I can to hype this book up all week, and not because like I'm getting paid to do it. I'm legitimately excited about this title coming back. I still remember the day months ago, because Paul keeps track of the solicitation drops, like in his personal life, not even for YouTube, but when the solicitations drop, and he just mentioned it right before we went live. He reads the solicitation. So that's as far out as you can possibly see the day of. And I remember the day that he read that, he messaged me. He's like, dude, next year is your year. I'm like, what? He goes, Aquaman's back. I'm like, oh, yeah. He's like, that's not all. Jeremy Adams is writing Aquaman. I'm like, oh, my God, that's awesome. He's like, that's not all. John Timms is on the art. I'm like, dude, you're kidding me. You're playing. This isn't real. And here it is. We made it.
We did make it.
And dude, I got to tell you, it did not disappoint. I mean, we could start the stream with the Aquaman talk. There's no reason to even push it back. But it did not disappoint. But pause for the calls, timeout. Random Rips, what's going on, homie? I hope you're doing good. Hope you're doing good. Matt said to keep you in thoughts and prayers and all that stuff. Didn't go into much detail. He just said, so yeah, you're definitely in the thoughts and prayers, homie. Hope everything's all good. But yeah, it was a phenomenal first issue. What did you think of it? Let's go and kick it over to you.
It could not have been better. It is. It just seems like whoever Jeremy Adams writes, he gets the character. I've said to you off screen that Jeremy Adams seems to be on the Jeff Johns plan at DC. He started writing Flash, then he moved to Green Lantern, and now then he moved to Aquaman. So Justice League cannot be far behind for him. But yeah, I mean, he gets it. It was, once again, we have Aquaman, who is the ruler, although Atlantis is missing.
Not at the beginning of it, though.
Not at the beginning.
Not at the beginning.
Right. But we have not only is it a great book on its own, but if you read the issue, it appears as though it's actually going to be very central to the entire DC universe as well, and that makes it even more of a must read.
Yeah, that was one of its biggest strong suits, and I think this is happening across the board right now. The continuity is at like a peak perfect balance. This feels like 2006 all over again. Before we did the New 52 jump, before we did the 1 year later jump and the New 52 and all that, the continuity has never been this tight, and Justice League Unlimited seems to be the focal point. You pick that book up and you read that book. If you see a character that you're interested in, they pretty much have a title right now that you can read, and it calls back to the Justice League book in some way. Not that you have to read the Justice League book in order to read these individuals, but you get a really good sense of your bearings with the DCU as a whole, where every character is, what the timeline is. Like, you can feel a sense of time as you read these books that's shared across all the titles. That is an absolute must when it comes to Marvel and DC. The other just companies don't have to deal with that as much, but DC and Marvel have a large shared universe. Like, that's why they tried to do it with the MCU, and they did it well for a long time. And they're still not doing terrible at it. They're really not doing bad. They're just missing characters at this point. But
yeah, it seems to be, obviously, I'm a DC guy, but the difference to me seems as though what Marvel does is they do this 5-issue type thing, and then they just slap the trade dress on every other main title. And that's how they kind of do it, as opposed to this is really kind of seems as though, for lack of a better term, it seems as though it's more thought out and more intertwined, and the all impact. I mean, you can, and it's really going to impact everything else that goes on. What's happening in Aquaman is not just going to impact Aquaman; it's going to impact everything else as well. Yeah,
it might be in a big way, because this book ties into numerous things. Definitely the DC All-In special. Right now, it seems like what happened in that book with Darkseid, with him finding out kind of the truth of the multiverse and his existence coming into play in the DC multiverse, and what he did because of that. Everyone presumes he's dead. The universe itself that they live in is responding and reacting as if he's dead as well. He's outside of time and space in the absolute world. He is the absolute world. So the universe is responding, but everyone's still wondering where he went. Is he dead? What's the ramifications? And in Aquaman, we see firsthand where he goes through. What happens is he deals with some stuff, which we'll get into, that's really cool. But ultimately, there's this MacGuffin, this pearl that Jackson brings to him, which you get some cool editor notes back to Flashpoint Beyond, which was a Jeremy Adams book. Flash, 785, which was a Jeremy Adams book, as well as Batman Brave and the Bold issue 18, which I think is a Philip Kennedy Johnson book, but it has multiple people working in it or something.
It's Batman and Robin, which is the Philip Kennedy Johnson. Brave and the Bold had multiple stories in it, and it had Jeremy Adams' first Aquaman story in it. He wrote a short story in that one as well,
where Jackson and McGann respond to a disturbance on Mars of all places, and they go there and find a white Martian in the Citadel, and he's using this pearl that he ransacked from Atlantis to siphon water from Earth to try to rehydrate Mars. They ultimately beat him and take the pearl back to Atlantis. And that's when we see Jackson with it in the title. Aquaman leaves to go fight a giant water kaiju, which was an amazing moment. You get this really cool page with these beautiful layouts, like 4-panel corners in a circle in the middle, and Aquaman kind of getting the hang of his new hydrokinesis powers and shuts down the kaiju, but he hears a call out from Mira and races back to Atlantis in a scene where you can feel the motion in the book. And when he gets there, Atlantis is gone. It looks like it's been just evaporated with just small pieces left, as well as that pearl. Ultimately going to the Justice League for help. Who was it? Was it what? I think it was Zatanna that did some like magic testing on it. Felt some weird vibes.
He's like, this is not a normal pearl.
Yeah, this ain't your normal pearl at all. But they ultimately took it back underwater with Batman and Diana and kind of let it lead them. It was responding to something, drawing them to something, and they get to like this little growth, this little what looks like a ring underwater covered with ocean foliage. And when they get there, it kind of accesses it, and a Stargate opens. And Aquaman, it's not sure what's on the other side, but he knows that's where his people is. And Batman says, when you get there, give him hell, kind of thing. He goes through it, causing this cosmic explosion as he goes to wherever he goes to. And what remains, it blew all the plants off, and it's nothing left but Darkseid's Omega symbol. So there's Darkseid stuff everywhere left in the DCU. We're getting clues and hints all over the place, and that was a banger way to end that title right there.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Yeah, I mean, and between what's going on with the New Gods and now with Aquaman, basically direct tie-ins to Darkseid now. It is it's a great time to be a DC reader, I think, right now.
Yeah, and it's a great time to be Jeremy Adams fan. I was kind of stepping back and thinking about it. He's like shaping all of the cosmic stuff at DC right now. Like it seems like he has carte blanche for all the cosmos because he's really doing big story and dealing with a bunch of characters. And it feels like, to a degree, it definitely feels self-contained because they're not really. It's gotten bigger than being on Earth. They're out there fighting, where it's not affecting the stuff that our main heroes are doing. But now it is. Now we've brought his story to Earth, bringing the dark side stuff in there. And I don't know. This is the guy that everyone that was reading it was heartbroken when he came off Flash. It felt like it just happened too fast. The dude was doing like some of his best work at the time of them calling it, and the Flash character seemed very central to the DCU. But if they can do that with Aquaman and actually like give this character some love, I mean, I'm all for it. He definitely deserves it. We've seen him do it before when Jeff Johns took him on. That was a very popular, successful run. They kind of reshaped and redefined him for that era, so much so that it influenced the story we got in the first film and everything. So I think it can be a big title.
Yeah, and the work that he's doing on Green Lantern, I know I compared him to Jeff Johns before, but the stuff he's doing with the fractured spectrum and the rebuilding the Green Lantern Corps again, that is very similar to what Jeff Johns did when he created the emotional spectrum and all that other stuff when he first came on Green Lantern. So it's great that he can take stuff that's already existing there and put a new spin on it and actually add a lot to the to the lore and the mythos of what's going on. And I've said this before, but with Jeff Johns, it was almost kind of like it was one of those things where it was like, how did nobody see this before? If you had green and yellow, how did nobody see that those are part of the color spectrum, and you basically could have all the different colors of the spectrum. So
yeah, we've always had three, but why not the rest?
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's he's like, man, he's created a whole new one with Sorrow. I guess that's what we're getting into with this fractured spectrum, because that's a one shot, right? It's an oversized one shot,
which is then going to go into the Green Lantern Corps book that they're doing.
Do you know the solicitation for that off the top of your head? What we're expecting from that title?
I don't recall, to be honest with you. I would need to go back and look at it.
That's a hard no.
Yes.
It's a hard no. We'll all find out together. That's not far behind the fractured spectrum one shot, is it?
No, it's only like a couple of weeks after that.
Yeah, nice. So yeah, it was a great week. There wasn't a lot of books that came out, but that one coming out was a huge one. I feel like there's been a handful of like big books that I was excited about. I say big, but we had the Atom Project the week before, which I absolutely loved that. And then getting that Aquaman book. There was numerous variants. There were some really, really good ones. I grabbed a bunch, to be honest with you, but I gave them all away. I gave them away on the new DC Day one. I put a couple of them into the Legion loot that'll be coming out, which I'm supposed to show that off. That's supposed to do that regularly.
There were a couple of foil covers. There was an Ivan Rice cover.
There was. It was pretty dope. But yeah, I grabbed the foil character one for the Legion loot, which is super dope. And also grabbed an A cover, because if someone wins this who hasn't picked up a copy to read it, you got to read it. It's really freaking great. But I went through some of the back issues, and I had to grab this because it's just a rare occasion where like everyone can agree that JR is a good artist, and there's no reason for him to be mailing in work. Like that's actually a JR cover from a handful of years ago, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. So that's going in there. I grabbed a couple of the other character covers from one from the Atom Project. Got Adam on there, which another fantastic read, which I'm nervous to say that. Thank God they're co-writing on it. Who's co-writing on it? Ryan Parrott. Ryan Parrott's our saving grace.
Exactly.
And then Metamorpho #1, I grabbed another one of these. With the movie coming out.
Al Ewing doing his first DC work, right?
Yeah, Metamorpho, which is very impressive because it had the vibes. It had the tone. Aquaman, which was the last kind of Aquaman run that we had. Aquaman, we did the like Black Manta miniseries, and we did Aquaman after that. Those sleeper agents activating and the three of them working together. It was kind of fun.
Signature on there.
It is. Chuck Brown, the writer, signed it. I got a couple signed ones from him when I met him back in 6/10/23 in Augusta. Got the credits on there. But I've held this one for that long waiting on an Aquaman giveaway. I'm good about holding giveaways till they're relevant. Look at that.
Me too, yeah.
That's a year and a half, homie. Not bad, huh? And then got it back here as a reminder. Aquaman issue 1 from 1986. This is the first appearance of the blue suit, and this was from a 4-issue miniseries. So I have all 4 issues.
It's a classic cover. Issue number 1.
It really is. And the suit is just next level. And you get a lot about like the dynamic of Atlantis and how deep the Atlantis lore goes. When they did this, like the Atlantis Chronicles and established like the birth of magic in the DCU, like Atlantis is crucial to all things DC Comics. Like they hardwired it into its history and then neglect it and just appears as a set piece. I'm glad
connected Arian to the
And last but not least, this is an actual copy of Aquaman number 29, the first appearance of Ocean Master. You got Aqualad on there, Aquaman, Orm. So get Silver Age key in there. And that's just the stuff so far. There's going to be big time collectible stuff in there as well. It's an Aquaman month, so we're celebrating in Aquaman style. So to get in on that, that's the monthly Legion loot. That's for the channel members in the Legion tier. So you got till the end of the month to sign up for that if you're interested in getting in on that. Otherwise, don't forget weekly giveaways every Tuesday.
Speaking of BTC, they posted a foil Batman cover not too long ago.
They said shh.
Yeah.
They said shh. That was weird for them to say that, but they said that. That's what they said.
Yeah.
Shh. Oh, I get it. I didn't get it, but it just clicked. I'm like, why are they trying to keep it a secret? They're not. It's for Hush. It's for the first issue of Batman Hush. Okay. Yeah, it's silver with the black bat with the emblem from the Jim Lee era on it. So if you're a fan of the DC foil logo variants, the shop that started it all, the one that everyone tries to emulate, because if you ain't first, you're last. You can be first with that. Big time collectibles. Hush. Mark gets internet humor. Dude, it just I feel like an idiot right now. Hey, I know the artist that 86 miniseries, Craig Hamilton, lives in Macon. He was a teenager when he drew that miniseries, his first pro work. Dude, that's wild. I had no clue. Craig Hamilton art on the Blue Suit Aquaman was amazing. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I got the figure up there. I went and pulled out this one and he's so tiny. He's little. But the original like superpowers figure to put up some posts. Yeah, just Aquaman out right now.
Yeah, and in case you haven't heard, the
word is the word.
The Jason Momoa Aquaman 2 statue and the Black Manta statue at the DC shop is only $10.
$10.
Yep.
That's all.
I heard that from someone.
I told you that.
I know.
I'm seeing if it's still in. It's not in here anymore. But if you're a channel member, you can check out the video.
And it is still at the DC shop for $10. I checked.
Yeah, it's kind of a steal. It's less than $30 shipped for that big statue there and that big statue there. If you want to see them closer, there's a video that'll be coming out this week about them. I'm not taking them down. They look so good, man. They look so good. Did you order them?
Not yet.
Dude, I was like this close to ordering the Dr. Fate. I told you about that. That was the statue that's normally when they come out like 160 or 250 between there, like the resin ones. I saw it on sale like last week for $60. I'm like, God, I need that. And then I'm like, I don't need that. But $10, I'm not passing up $10. That's just crazy. What's going on, Trev? Can you repaint Aquaman as Lobo? You can. Oh, now that you mention it, I should have gotten 2 of them and repainted one orange and green. The statues normally cost $39.99 each plus shipping, so Mark got a bargain.
There you go.
You too can get such a bargain. Kenny B, what's going on, man? Hope you're doing good tonight. But yeah, and the Aquaman thing, that wasn't it for Aquaman this week. Another one that, dude, it's been fun because I've already started going through it. But the DC Finest collection that started rolling out toward the end of last year, showcasing I don't know, like definitive errors for different heroes. We got our first Aquaman one out this year. And this is 1957 through 1962. So it highlights those years. So you're getting a lot of adventure comics first and foremost, which is why they don't show any of the covers on the back. Like the good first half of this is adventure comics, where he appeared as the backup story in that.
Right.
And then it
Yeah, he had
switches
his
over.
3 issues in Showcase, I think, right? And then it goes into the Adventure Comics, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it shows 3 issues of Showcase on the back,
Right.
4 issues. Yeah, you got 4 issues of Showcase featured on the back, and then it goes into Aquaman 1. But if you look at the table of contents, now the stories that are included in the adventure comics, like, yeah, here. So all of these stories, all of those are adventure comics.
Okay.
Next page. 100% adventure comics. Next page. All adventure comics and turns into Showcase where my finger is.
Okay.
Now those stories are all like 8-pagers, you know what I mean? So then when you turn the page, it gets into Showcase, a couple more adventure, and then Detective Comics even. But you get Aquaman 1, Aquaman 2, World's Finest 125, and Aquaman 3. So it only gets you up into 3 issues of his solo title, because that's how many times he appeared in someone else's title and then got featured in Showcase before they figured out.
Yeah. Showcase were his first full-length comics.
Yeah, solo.
Yeah.
Yeah, they figured out this character has fins. He can go on his own. I mean, it's pretty funny. The first appearance of Topo is in there.
Yep.
Obviously, the first Silver Age appearance of Aquaman and Aqualad, which it wasn't until the Silver Age that they redefined Aquaman as Arthur Curry and giving him his background and lore. He was just a dude that could breathe underwater kind of thing in the original stuff. But it's funny watching him. The very first story is him doing like a tryout to see which sea creature should be his sidekick. And he started with a swordfish, a whale, which they call whales fish all through it because I guess they don't know there were mammals back then. Not enough studying had occurred.
It wasn't until the 70s that they discovered that whales were actually mammals.
So that's a fun. There's so much fun little snippets of history with that because they just look at this whalefish, and then the octopus, and they play the story like the octopus messed up and he was disqualified, but then at the end, the realization that Aquaman just wasn't paying attention enough. He didn't get tangled in that boat's propeller. He was actually saving the boat by acting as its propeller, and Topo becomes his trusted sidekick right off the bat, which is really cool. But there's one wild thing about Topo being his sidekick in the Silver Age is that Topo doesn't swim next to him. He rides Topo everywhere. Like it's wild, but you get some really fun stories right off the bat. Him, the Navy asking him to help with the recruiting process and be seaman for the day. No pun intended. Him getting shrunk down with a shrinking ray and having to bounce fish tank to fish tank, the soda bottle to hot dog water to get from the aquarium shop back to the ocean because he can't stay out of water long. But there's a lot of fun stories in here. The fact that they read quick really helps out with the time era difference as well.
Yeah. They're putting out those DC Finest like fast and furious. They're up to like 11 or something now.
Yeah, there's been a couple I missed. I didn't pick up the 0 Hour one, and I think I didn't get the Legion of Superhero one.
0 Hour is split into 2 volumes, actually.
Yeah, I think they've only put out one so far, though, right?
Absolutely, yep.
Okay. Yeah. I really want, like, Legion of Superheroes is something, like, I'm aware of and just haven't read a lot of. That's one that I definitely want to get. It seems like it's one of those things where when they reprint this stuff, I find myself getting additional versions of stuff that I already own. I definitely want to try to pick
for
up
some
that
of them,
Legion.
like if you get the Justice Society one, if you have the archive editions, you already have all that stuff.
Yeah, so that's funny, like how I said it. I've got the Justice Society one right here in the archives right here. They're on the same shelf. The same stories on there twice. But the archive collections collect like 4 issues pretty much for those old Golden Age. That's meaty, very meaty. But then again, I have multiple volumes like the 0, 1, 2, and 3. Those JSA ones, there's one of them that is not cheap if you try to go back and re-get the archive. Neither is the Spectre. I've got the Spectre volume 1 up there. For some reason, some of those archive volumes are ridiculously not cheap anymore. Well, hey, babe. What?
Moana song.
She's singing Moana.
I'm excited for Mark's birthday.
That's fantastic.
I mean, I'm sad about it, but excited. Sorry.
Hi, Kyle.
Hey.
She's excited for Monkey's birthday. I need to ask you how I can ship comics cheap. That's easy.
He's
Very
talking
easy.
to Trev, I think. The shipping girl.
Well, the answer's still easy. Gemini mailers,
Mm-hmm.
flat rate envelopes, and pirateship.com. Those 3 things. Boom, boom, bang. It's the best way to do it. You get the discounts with Pirate Ship. So let's move over and look at some of the stuff that I heard about what's going on this week. Oh, the Legion loot also will feature this fantastic
There
sketch
you go.
cover,
Yeah.
Aquaman issue number 1 by a good friend. I guess I shouldn't use his government name. Comics with Izzyverse NYC is his handle. But I saw that he picked up the blank. He's a fantastic artist. So I messaged him and said, "Hey man, do you have plans for that blank yet?" He's like, No. I'm like, well, I like to commission it for the Legion League. He's like, yeah, what do you want? And I sent him a picture of Jason Momoa holding the trident from when he snatches it out of Atlan's hand. And the first time he holds it up, I'm like, look, that's the picture I want. And he nailed it. I said, but do this Aquaman. Do the current Aquaman.
You could have just said, "All I want is just a hand floating in the ocean."
I almost sent him the image of just the hand, like with the big green like gauntlet that he wears in the movie, the hand coming out of the water with the trident. I almost sent him that picture. I'm like, no, I think Izzy's definitely way better than that. He can.
Oh yeah, that's an incredible drawing.
Yeah, and the coolest thing with Izzy is how fast he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Isabel New York is the government name. I gotta get T-Dubs to do a cover for one of these Legion Leaders. That'd be awesome. I don't know if T-Dubs that works on actual comic book covers. I know his artwork is insane, but I don't know if he's actually if it works on comic covers. I know he works with a lot of actual water.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know how that works. I need to talk to T-Dubs about that. There's some other good stuff coming to be cool. When I do another character spotlight, Legion Loot kind of theme it. That'd be cool. Paul, I like how your shirt is like, screw Superman. We're cutting that mofo in half. Oh, he's there.
He's right
There
there.
he is. He was hiding in the pits.
The Justice Society is on the back.
Yeah, shout out to where you got that.
Bearded shirts. Is where I got that.
Pretty straightforward. There it is.
Mm-hmm.
They're called all over print shirts. This guy can put anything on one. He's got a website with, I think, thousands of options. They're print to order.
Yep.
They're pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, let's get into the schmar for the week. First off, big news. It looks like Disney is making the right choice where Marvel failed before in recasting a major character from their show Ahsoka. You know, Ray Stevenson's final role before passing away, he was Baylan Skoll in Ahsoka, and he was like everyone's favorite part of that show. He was a menacing Sith, but he was also like an easily relatable and forgiving kind of character. He didn't seem like he had a malicious bone in his body. He just had his own goals set out. And the show ended with a major cliffhanger with him going on he had his own journey he was working on through the show, and it ended at a major cliffhanger with him like finding the old statues. What are they called? The twins? The brothers?
Yeah, the brothers. I think you're right. Yeah.
Something like that. But they're recasting him with Roy McCann, who played the Hound in Game of Thrones. So I think he's a good actor. He's got the build. He's got the size. As long as they can do a little plastic surgery, possibly look the part.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's pretty impressive.
Not the only recasting rumor this week, though.
Tell me more.
Rumor is that they're going to be recasting T'Challa.
Hope it's Denzel Washington. Yeah, has this been confirmed yet that they're looking?
I think it's just a rumor as far as I've read.
Oh man, how's that going to work? They decided to kill T'Challa off screen. They decided to make his girlfriend pregnant with a baby that's born in the second movie, and there's an infant that they named T'Challa. So like T'Challa's like a baby right now, a little kid in the MCU.
There are an infinite number of universes.
So that's where my mind was going. We're about to have Fantastic Four that is so screwed up timeline wise that they're having to have the movie take place on a completely different planet.
Mm-hmm.
So what if they kind of just like, you know what, we're going to stop making movies on the Earth we've been on.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just make movies on this Fantastic Four Earth for a little while until we get like to Secret Wars, maybe.
Maybe.
We have a Black Panther 3 that's being made and in the works, and they have cast Denzel Washington as a role in it. We don't know what he's going to play, but yeah, let's get Jonathan Majors in there. He can fight Shuri for the title of Black Panther. I'm interested to see Roy play Balin. Loved him as the Hound. Yeah, I think that's good. What is going on, Brother John? But yeah, that's going to be interesting. I like the idea of them actually protecting their properties instead of just throwing them to the wind. That was such a crazy, crazy thing that they did. Crazy. What is it? David Aguilar, my vote for the new Black Panther. Are you familiar with that person?
I may be, but the name does not ring a bell for me.
Not sure who it is either. I'd have to look it up. Other big stuff that happened, and John mentioned it in the chat, but we got our series finale to season 1, or season finale, because it is renewed for a second season to the first outing for the brand new DCU under James Gunn's leadership with Peter Safran. That's Creature Commandos, the animated 8-episode. Was it 8 episodes?
It was 8 episodes.
8-episode, 30-minute each series on HBO Max. I think that this was an interesting way to start the DCU. And it's an interesting series. I wish it was more memorable. This is going to be forgotten pretty quick, I think. But it has its moments.
It was 7 episodes. What Taylor's right, it was only 7 episodes.
7 episodes, counting the 2-episode opening.
Yes.
Yeah, I had fun along the way.
Oh, yeah, I know who David Rajala is. I should have known that.
You're a Star Trek guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, you should have known that.
I know who Book is. I just didn't. The actor who played him didn't click in my mind.
All right. So series finale, season finale. We get Nina's backstory.
Poor Nina. We hardly knew you.
Yeah, hardly knew you. She was born with her lungs outside of her body. Her dad experimented on her to try to fix it. Turned her blue. Got her lungs on the inside though, I guess, but created gills. She had to breathe water to live. Ostracized. Mom ran out on him. Dad accidentally killed. Everyone that gets accidentally killed in every one of these people's backstories, or everyone gets killed. Dead parents is like a theme for these backstories here.
For pretty much like 3/4 of the heroes.
And the other ones they just didn't tell us. Let's see. Rick Flag lost his son. Phosphorus lost his wife and daughter. GR Robot didn't have anyone to begin with, but he made sure that there's nobody. Frankenstein lost the bride. The bride lost her life. You even get there. Nina lost her dad. It was just it was wild. Yeah, Dr. Phosphorus is based. Yeah, it was pretty wild. But the episode that they're trying to get back to the castle and kill the princess because they were told through Cersei, the villain that they were after, that you got to kill her and save the world. And they got hoodwinked before they can get there and kill her. Nina goes to have a knife fight with the princess in a pond and somehow loses, which is wild, but costing Nina her life. Find out they stop them in time. The day is saved, just to find out that the princess is really, really bad after all. So the bride puts a bullet through her head.
Yes.
Yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yeah.
There wasn't much of a plot to this show, but I felt like this first season, all it did was create a small enough plot to serve as flashbacks for the characters. It was really, if this was the only season we got, it's almost pointless.
And sprinkle a couple of new characters for season 2.
Yeah, they showed King Shark at the end, voiced by Dieter. What's his name? Dieter Bader? Dietrich Bader?
Yeah, Dietrich Bader, who
Dude, he's
was
hilarious.
the voice. He was the voice of Batman in Brave and the Bold.
Mm-hmm. Avengers Doomsday will lead into Secret Wars on them. I was certain Grodd mind controlled the princess. Mark just summed it up perfectly. Yeah, just enough plot to give you backstories. But I don't know. I didn't not enjoy it at all. I don't know. It was an expectations thing for me. I had fun. I liked it. I chuckled a couple of times. Again, there were some really good moments, and I said this earlier tonight about the first Suicide Squad movie. There's some good moments in that, but moments don't make it the movie. They just make it the moment, and that's how I felt with this. Yeah, but all in all, I'm excited for a season 2 to give us the chance to kind of like dive into more of a story, maybe.
Yeah, same thing. Like when season 2 comes out, I'll watch it, but it wasn't good enough for me to go back and rewatch season 1.
They showed all the characters they'll do flashbacks for the next season. Yeah, that's exactly.
So we know that King Shark's parents are going to die.
Yeah, it's going to be sad in another way. Who else did they show in the end? That's the only one I remember. I like King Shark. I like the James Gunn take on King Shark. And
Yeah.
I don't know, man. He was fun when that rain hit and they went and stormed Jotunheim, and he just grabs that guy and crushes his chest or rips him in half. It was wild. I don't know. I wanted more from it. It had the little after credits. Frankenstein's still around.
Yeah. Eating soup.
Eating soup, but it did to the point like it didn't springboard this project into anything forward. We called that in the beginning, said that's not what the DCU is going to do. Don't get upset if this doesn't set up whatever the next DCU project is. These projects are only going to be servicing themselves.
However,
and that's what it did.
There is a theory that I read online.
I like theories.
That because right now what has happened is the creature commandos have gone into Polikistan and killed the princess, and now there is an international incident that has occurred. Will that somehow be a nugget of a story as what happens in Superman?
I don't know, like maybe at least on a television screen somewhere or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, dude, I'm all for Easter egging stuff, but I don't want anything to be contingent on a previous project. You know what I mean? Like I feel like you're just tying your creative hands behind their back. You know, if someone walks into a diner, having something playing on a TV is the perfect way to reference and let the viewers know, like, hey, timeline, look, it's moving.
Yeah, but I mean, James Gunn has written both Creature Commandos and Superman, so it's not like he's tying anybody's hands but his own into the Superman movie.
Yeah, but if you say, I'm saying, I hope they don't set that precedent for the DCU.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because like that, we don't know what he's going to do after Superman, because he did he wrote Creature Commandos, didn't direct it, but just wrote it, and there's other writers attached to it, and he wrote Superman. Beyond that, there's other people attached to the movie. You have Muschietti attached to Brave and the Bold still. Who is it that's attached to Swamp Thing?
I don't recall, but you have Tom King and Damon Lindelof.
Yeah, you got like the APO Dream Team on Lanterns. And Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, I forget the name of the lady who wrote it. She doesn't have a big list. I looked her up the other day when Jason Momoa has the script by the bonfire that he just got that day. And it says the writer of the script on it. And I looked her up and she has a few television credits, but nothing else. But I like the idea of it. Paying attention to yourself, don't lose the plot trying to worry about what we have planned down the road kind of thing. But
yes. Do not write yourself an Adam Warlock moment.
No, good gosh. But speaking of the other projects, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is set to start filming tomorrow. They're not slowing down. So we're supposed to get this film next year. And man, surprisingly, we're seeing movies actually have an impact on collecting a little bit. It isn't like the high highs of 2018 to 2020 when the market boom happened, the bubble happened, and we're at the end of like the Infinity Saga. But when James Gunn first announced the slate of stuff they were working on, this is the project that saw the most attention in the secondary market that I noticed. That Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow book is still sitting at like a $20 book, and it's like not even 2 years old hardly. But it seems like a lot of people are interested for this movie, for this story, and for what it could bring. And that was all before they announced that Lobo was attached to it, which Lobo is going to bring a lot of attention to this movie. Right.
And I think we mentioned this last week or mentioned it somewhere, but Tom King said that his original pitch to DC for the Supergirl series had Lobo in it.
Yeah, Dieter Bader was the voice of King Shark in this one. I saw somebody ask that. What's going on, Dope? Dope Comics is in the building. Dope, I hope you picked up Aquaman. I want to hear your rant or rave review about that. That's for sure. Raven the Bold Batman was the best Batman ever. Yeah, a lot of people like that cartoon.
I just liked it being the Batman team up series. You got to see lots of different characters. So
Yeah, I'd still recall Pop sitting me down and showing me the OMAC episode. Box office hit films for 2005, Avatar Fire and Ash, which I think will be the biggest box office win of the year. Personally, Zootopia 2. The kids' movies seem to do pretty good. And I got a lot of faith in Jurassic Park Rebirth, seeing some of the stills and photos from it, like kind of getting an idea of the tone for it. But we've been duped before, but I haven't watched a Jurassic Park movie I didn't love. I'm a sucker for dinosaurs. But
yeah, but it's supposed. This one supposedly is supposed to be most like the original. You know, there's no more. Oh, there's this park and they're all going to get loose and stuff like that.
No, they're loose.
Yeah,
it's supposed to be continuing it. From what I understand, it's a researcher going after a couple of specific dinosaur breeds that are definitely dangerous, trying to get a DNA sample from them, being escorted by a teetotal badass known as Scarlett Johansson. She's protecting him through this journey, trying to track down these dangerous breeds to get samples. And when they do get the DNA samples, they discover a hidden secret about the whole existence of these dinosaurs that's been hidden since the first Jurassic Park.
Yeah. And hopefully, Kevin, we can add Superman to that list too. But in Jurassic Park Rebirth, has got, besides Scarlett Johansson, it's got Jonathan Bailey, who is one of the hottest actors probably going right now too. So,
what's he been in?
He's in Wicked. He was in Bridgerton. He's in a whole.
So he's on his little. He's on his push. They're pushing him right now.
Yeah.
Is that the main actor guy who we're seeing in all the photos?
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, I think that Superman is going to be a major hit, if for nothing else, like just out of sheer curiosity. I think a lot of superhero movie fans are trying to find something to enjoy. Marvel has definitely abandoned their fans. Disney as a whole has definitely stabbed their fans in the back more times than people care. Look at Skeleton Crew. Like, that's a perfect example of fans checking out. That's a quality show. Might not be for everyone, but no one's watching it. Like, people aren't even hate reviewing it. There's plenty of channels out there that would love to hate review anything, but they got other stuff to talk about that's not even worth their time, which is crazy to think. But it's wild. And I think we're going to see the same thing happening with Marvel stuff. It's going to be a wild year for Marvel. They're putting out a ton of content in cartoon, television show, and movies, and it's going to be I think it's going to be rough. I think it's going to be detrimental. Like, whatever they're working on right now to correct the ship isn't the stuff we're going to see come out this year. This is all the stuff that was already planned. So they have to get through 9 detrimental projects to get to anything to try to repair their brand. That's
They
crazy.
said their plan is to do 3 TV shows and 2 movies a year. But that's not till 2026 because they already had a whole boatload of stuff that they were doing for 2025.
Yeah, tons of stuff. I don't know how far out. I haven't looked at like their stuff past this year. I love when people call things a bust the day it starts filming. Some people can see ahead of time. Some people have good discernment. Some people are just dicks. Goes both ways. Yeah. There's always a thing. People spend a lot of time in the medium, and you can see patterns. It's not always hard. Max streaming service needs more originals. I don't think they do too bad. I'm a big Max fan.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the big show is right now. Typically, we're pretty on top of what they're putting out because this show, and we joke about it, counter programs whatever is happening big at Max. I don't know how we're separating the Max originals versus the HBO originals because I know that's 2 different things if I'm not mistaken. But I just call it all HBO, whether it be a Max original or an HBO original. But House of the Dragons was the biggest show of 2024, most viewed. The Penguin came out in 2024. Creature Commando started in 2024. Dune Prophecy was 2024. And they got a lot of other stuff that I'm not necessarily into, but it's high quality that you hear people suggesting. Disney's never going to take risk because they don't want to lose the family audience. I think they did. I think that's who they accidentally lost. That was a big part of it. Disney had a massive pushback against by the family audience. I mean, everyone's mileage is going to vary, but what they consider family appropriate and what other people consider family appropriate are wildly 2 different things. It was good seeing them get a couple of hits in there. They're like Elementals. last year. That was a slow burn, but it turned out to be a hit. And that was a pretty decent movie. Inside Out 2, that was over $1 billion at the box office. And then Moana 2 shocked everyone. Look, people love Moana. Like we just spent a couple $100 ordering Moana birthday stuff for Monkey. Her birthday's next month, and I love Moana. I think that Moana was the last great Disney kids movie. So
yeah, even if you believe a lot of the articles, even Disney itself was surprised by Moana because it was basically designed originally to just be like a pilot or whatever, or a couple of episodes of a Disney thing that was just going to be on Disney Plus.
Yeah, Justin Birch, professional letterer Justin Birch, who hangs out here on the channel on Friday mornings, he went and saw it, and he has a bone to pick with it because he's mad about the editing. It was very apparent to him how it was reformatted into a feature versus a series, and he kind of jokes about the format of it and everything, but it's fun talking to him. Joe says, plenty of people are talking about watching Skeleton Crew. You just have to know where to look. Lots of breakdowns of each episode's out there as well. That's my point. When people are watching something, you don't have to know where to look. It's just everywhere. It's kind of like effortless to find it. That's the difference with Skeleton Crew. And when the Acolyte came out, so many people were watching it and hate watching it and talking about it. You couldn't avoid it if you tried. Same thing with Ahsoka, same thing with Obi-Wan, same thing with The Mandalorian. Skeleton Crew, you have Star Wars dedicated channels and some dedicated audiences out there. We talk about Skeleton Crew here. I'm behind on it, but that holidays be like that. That was supposed to be a show, right? Yep. Comic Cap Collectibles, what's going on? I keep forgetting Moana 2 exists. Haven't seen it yet. Neither have I, which is shocking because I'm a big Moana fan. I'll sit here and sing the songs with you. But I'll end up watching it on Disney Plus when it comes out. Just one of those things. The holidays hard to keep up, much less get to the theater.
And it's soon to be a live action.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I've seen the set photos with The Rock as Maui. He looks hilarious in the bodysuit. I'm sure it'll look better. That's fun. With hair. It looks like the Scorpion King all over again. Moana 2 is a step back from the first. It's the standard old school Disney formula. Like I remember being a kid, you would get a banger hit like The Little Mermaid or Aladdin, and then it was so good that you're guaranteed a direct to VHS
direct to video. Yeah, exactly.
And it didn't have the budget, and you can tell from the animation differences. It didn't have the soundtrack. The voices were different and everything, but you got 2 or 3 sequels that were direct to VHS. And Moana was getting the direct-to-streaming treatment, which is the 2024 version, but they gave it a boost. So we got nothing for the holidays. We got nothing to lose, and that's a great idea. I wish more studios did that. Look at Red 1 with J.K. Simmons, The Rock, and Chris Evans, made for Amazon, planned on streaming on Amazon. They said, why not just throw it in the theater? We got nothing to lose. If it makes $1, that's $1 more than all you have to do is cover the cost of putting it there. And it turned out to be a massive Christmas hit, and I think they're working on doing another one now.
Really?
If I'm not mistaken, that's all rumors.
Will it be called Red 1 2, or will it be called Red 2?
I don't know. Maybe just jump right to Red 3. Just really throw a curveball now that we got Chris Evans in here. Red 1 is just a designation, the code name for Santa amongst the elves. Yeah, the first Moana was exceptional. So I didn't see Mufasa, the Lion King, still going to make a small profit. I haven't looked into that one yet. And who was it I think it's Aaron Pierre doing the voice for Mufasa. Jon Stewart himself. Yep. There we go. We got Moana 2 on Disney Plus in March. That's a good sign that they're because it came out Thanksgiving weekend. Because it set Thanksgiving weekend records. I like the idea of them not putting it out the next month on streaming. They got to get back. They're slowly getting back to how people who've watched and been consumers of this industry for so long seem like they had a better idea of this industry than a lot of these people that have gotten hired in the last 10 years that weren't big consumers before getting hired. You can't make a movie, release it in a theater, then give it away for free the next month. People will not go and see it with no incentive. Right. I mean, some people will, but that's crazy.
Yeah. They really should keep them off of their streaming. I mean, I know they do it because they try to build the the subscriber base, but they should keep them off of their streamer for an extended period of time.
I'd say 6 months at least. Because what's the difference? Like if you don't go to the theater, if you're like, I'm not going to the theater, if you're one of those people, what's the difference between seeing it the day it releases in theater and seeing the day it releases on streaming, you don't care what day it releases on streaming so long as it gets there when it gets there. If it's on a schedule, a set 3-6 month schedule, whatever, you're still watching new content every week because there's whatever came out 5 months and 3 weeks ago or 5 months and 2 weeks ago. There's always a steady flow of new content. Yeah, John says it should be a year.
COVID really did mess that up. That was the whole thing.
I think it accelerated it. I think the streaming wars experiment was going to happen no matter what, but the lockdown accelerated it greatly. But I think they're still going to try to do it because they're trying to pad numbers, and they're all playing to investors. The consumers had nothing to do with the decisions that these streaming services were making. They just needed to show subscriber numbers to people they were conning out of their money to invest in these platforms. Red One was a lot of fun. Mufasa was good. The Brothers song was great. And Pumbaa and Timon just chilling is always a good time. Flash Rate says he remembers back in the day they would keep movies in the theater for more than 2 weeks before it went to streaming. Yeah, I remember movies like lasting a year almost if they were performing decent.
And they would go to one theater, and then they would go to like a second run theater, and you would be able to see them at a second run theater for a little while as well,
like a buck
for
or
a cheaper
two.
price. Exactly. Before they would then even go. Then they would take 6 months off, and they would be released on video, and then they would end up on Stars or HBO, whatever after that. And
John says Disney wanted like 50 million subs in 10 years, and they got 100 million in a year. Well, they should be happy, but unfortunately for anything in that level of consumerism, that means if they got 100 in a year, they're going to demand that they get 200 in 2 years by all costs. Watch it in 720p with crap speakers, or watch it on theater screen with surround sound that would get the cops called to my house. Do we really need to save that money? Yeah, I'm 1,000% there with you. I'm a huge advocate for going to the theater. Yeah, I completely agree. When people say I can watch it at home, even in more no, you can't. No, you can't. There's nothing about a home experience that is comparable to a theater experience at all. At all, not one bit.
unless you have a theater set up in your home.
And it's not even going to be that.
They're going to be the same, right?
Yeah, tell me you have an IMAX laser enveloped surround sound system to that level. Like you said, that it'd get the cops called on you. My good friend from Belgium, we went and saw Venom: The Last Dance, and I made sure we went to the IMAX screening because when I go, if I'm going, I'm making sure I go to the IMAX screen. I'm going to go to the biggest, loudest, give me the best you have to show me option. Because I've got a big 4K TV and a nice sound system and all that. But I can't rock in my living room with little kids in the house like I can rock in the theater.
Unless someone's bringing me my hamburger and fries to my seat where I am in my living room. It's like...
They outlawed that a long time ago. You can't do that. Yeah, no. James Gunn can make a good film. Nobody questioned that at all. Can he get box office win outside of Marvel Studios? That's a solid question. You know, unfortunately for the record books, Suicide Squad was the same day release in limited theaters because a lot of places weren't open, but they dropped it on Max. Now for comparison, and I love to make this comparison, Godzilla versus Kong did the same thing, and it still was like a monster at the box office, considering that people were watching it. I didn't go see it in theater. I watched it at home, and a lot of people still went and saw it, and it was a box office success, plus obviously a streaming success. But New Empire edged it out, I think. I think it still got a little bit more than versus Kong. James Gunn, Suicide Squad, good reviews and still bomb at the box office. Yeah, but it's not honest box office numbers. Right. It was still locked down. Anywhere too far left in this country or too far up in this country, there weren't people going play. You pretty much had to go to the southeast or the south to see people out and about at theaters when they dropped it. And it was same day on HBO, and I didn't go to the theater to see it. We have little kids in the house and stuff. I didn't have to make the arrangements and plans to go out. It was a sheer convenience thing for me, and an unfortunate convenience thing. And I love the theater experience as well. Of the issues, most movies these days aren't going to consumer sales, DVD, Blu-ray, etc. 1,000% agree. And I've been pushing hard to try to do my part. I switched over to collecting steelbooks toward the end of 2024. Paul's listening to my frustration of trying to find movies in the wild. Best Buy stopped stocking films. Target now has stopped stocking films. Walmart has picked up a little bit of the slack, but because Walmart's the only one out there with them, their shelves are pretty barren anymore. Like there's always stuff on them, but there's equal amount of holes where people are buying out what they have. So I've switched to getting stuff from a website called Groove Entertainment. And I also order directly from Walmart.com, which I've loved my experience ordering through them. If you do check out Walmart.com, it's very similar to eBay, where it'll tell you where it's coming from, if it's a private seller or if it's from Walmart itself. I recommend buying from Walmart themselves if you go that route. I don't. My Alien Romulus steelbook is taking forever to get here because the seller hasn't.
I didn't realize that Target had stopped too.
Yep, we got no movies and Targets here in Augusta, and I looked and I saw an article on it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's in all their stores, if they started rolling them back at some point, and my stores were already affected where some other ones haven't been, but we got no movies in Target. Like Godzilla -1, watching it at home is nothing compared to that was a perfect example.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect example. The escapism you get being in a theater, especially in a film like that, man, that was next level.
Just that scene alone where you can only see like this part of his head behind the boat is like, you got to see that in the theater just compared to seeing it on a small TV. Coming
right at you, man.
Yeah.
Marvel Studio has nothing left to prove to nobody. They already reached their peak. Absolutely agree. They peaked with Endgame. That's it. So that's how I've made this mention a couple of streams ago, and I don't know if it was on this one or someone else's. I feel like the more Marvel stuff I watch, it just makes me just less enjoy the brand as a whole. So I kind of like decided, like, I'm not watching this stupid Spider-Man cartoon. I'm not watching Marvel Zombies. I'm not watching What If. TV shows are up in the air. Like I bailed on Agatha. I'm excited still for the new Captain America movie, but I'm not trying to misplace my expectations. I'll watch the Thunderbolts, but I think it's more of the same over campy comical slog, and we'll see from there. But the more I watch, the more it kind of takes away from how great the rest of it was up to Endgame. So I think the Infinity Saga, for me, that's my Marvel MCU. And then after that, like, dude, I stopped buying them in physical media, and like if I found them in a dollar bin for a 4K, like a $5 movie bin, I might grab it, might not.
Yeah, and it's, they're almost, to me anyway, it's like they're almost admitting that nothing has worked since Endgame because they're bringing everybody back from Endgame.
Yeah.
Including, apparently there was some productions sheet that was seen this week that had Elizabeth Olsen on the production sheet
for the MCU.
Even this, for Endgame. Sorry, for Doomsday.
Yeah, we know we're getting all the characters back together for that. It's been years now that I've been saying since like the streaming stuff was really kicking off, like we got to reboot the MCU if you want it to work. It doesn't work without your characters, and we no Captain America, no Iron Man, might as well not have a Thor. Hulk's been destroyed. Like, it doesn't work without those characters. Like, let's do a DCU without the Trinity. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. People come for the grand show. They come for the title bout. They sit through the mid cards to get there, and they'll enjoy some of them along the way. But they're there for the main show, and without that, you don't have anything.
And it's, Robert Downey Jr. is going to be Doom. Is Chris Evans going to be Nomad instead? It's like, there are all these things that they want to bring all these actors back, but maybe not the characters. And it's like,
damage is done, dude. There's no going back. Just pull the plug. These characters are timeless. They existed a long time before the MCU had its run. They'll exist a long time afterwards. I mean, it's that simple. Well, if they recast them and try it again, the worst that'll happen is someone will say, I like the old one better. This was a decent movie or whatever. And sometimes you're going to get someone who does an even better job in their role. Mm-hmm. A lot of people's favorite Superman is Henry Cavill, not Christopher Reeve. Mm-hmm. I'm a Christopher Reeve first and foremost guy, but a lot of people stand by Henry Cavill being their Superman. It's not always the first one that's the best one for everybody. But as far as Paramount and Sony's film slate this year, there's one Paramount movie I'm looking forward to that just shadows the rest of them. This absolutely, and that's Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning. I'm a Mission Impossible diehard. I think it's some of the last great cinema that we get, and I cannot wait to see the crazy Scientology stunts that Tom Cruise has up his sleeve this time. I think he's free jumping from one plane to another one in the air. I think that's what he's going to do. He always has a mega stunt, and I think that might be it. The dude's crazy, and I'm absolutely entertained by what he does on screen. Yeah, we don't.
If he dives into a volcano to try to
put the volcano out.
That's a Scientology reference, by the way.
Yeah. Oh man, she lost her soul. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Oh man, I turned on an old MCU film last night and loved it. Phase 1, 2, and 3 is once in a lifetime. Yeah, and it might not be fair for us to try to expect that of it again. You only assemble the Avengers for a first time one time. Cap only picks up the hammer for the first time one time. Never replicating that. Right. DC is not even going to replicate that kind of stuff. But that's the trick, is to not try to. With the MCU, that's its own standard that it set for itself. It's tough stuff. I like how they're trying to do the whole new Avengers and Young Avengers thing, but as Deadpool said, it's just been miss after miss after miss. Endgame and Spider-Man No Way Home. Yep. Like Christopher Reeve is Superman, and then we can debate who number one with all the other actors. Say it all the time. Everyone else is just competing for number two. And there's a definitive number two now. Definitive. And that's Tyler. Tyler easily takes the play. It's not even a question anymore. It's not even debatable. Remember to hit the thumbs up and spread the word. He's so close to 4.5. I'm almost at 4.5 thousand subscribers. Big shout out to everybody. Thank you, Christina Payne. The MCU stays good, in my opinion. Paramount is releasing Star Trek film. Do you know this is the longest period of time between Star Trek movies since the start? We got a ton of TV, though. I did not know that.
Yes. A week from this Friday, on Paramount Plus, you can see Star Trek Section 31.
And we'll be talking and reviewing that here the following Sunday. Because I'm going to be watching it because I'm a Star Trek guy now. I haven't dove into a lot of it, but that Discovery finale was pretty cool, and I slowly kind of bounce into the Strange New World show. There's too much out there to pretend you can catch up on it. Way too much. But I'm gonna check out the stuff as it comes out and see what's what. That movie looks ridiculous. I'm not gonna lie. As someone who's not steeped in Star Trek,
yeah,
this Section 31 looks absolutely like bananas to me. Mm-hmm. But I think that's the point, maybe. Hey, John finished Superman and Lois last week. What did you think of that finale, bud?
I was going to say, are you still crying from the last 15 minutes?
Yeah, what did you think of that finale? All right, here's a fun one. Interesting. Superman sneak peek will be taking place at this year's Puppy Bowl 21. This is the during the Super Bowl, Animal Planet puts on the Puppy Bowl. It's literally just a bunch of puppies just running around on some AstroTurf playing with balls for an extended period of time.
There you go.
Then, leaning into the crypto, they decided to do a Puppy Bowl sneak peek. Crazy, Joe. What are we doing? What is happening? I expected them to. We're going to have a Super Bowl commercial. But nah, let's save the money. It's going to be on the internet same time as. Why would we spend money doing a Super Bowl commercial when we can do the Puppy Bowl? That's crazy.
Got to give crypto his due.
Sure. I mean, if that's how they justify saving a buck, but that's what this looks like to me. Again, the big show. It's the Super Bowl. It's where everyone for decades now goes to watch movie trailers. But because of this stupid online era that we live in, the trailer releases simultaneously on social media. Now, you might ask, well, why don't they just not release it on social media yet? Because people record the Super Bowl and will immediately post it on their own social medias, taking away from the viewership of the official companies. Why does that matter? These official companies make money off social media. Their Instagram pages, their X pages, their YouTube channels. When they put their official trailers out, those views equal dollar signs. Mm-hmm. So they have to put them out to self-compete. but that's crazy. The Puppy Bowl.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is, and hear me out, is if the people that are watching the Puppy Bowl, if we can get them to go see Superman, the people that are watching the Super Bowl are already going to go,
They're already going.
right? So if we can get the people that are watching the Puppy Bowl to go see Superman, that's a plus. That's a win.
Yeah. That's so interesting. I'm not mad at it. I work with animals for a living. I run a kennel. I think it's hilarious. I watch the Puppy Bowl. So I don't like it is just kind of on, I got dogs in the house and kids. It's something fun to turn on.
I also would not be surprised if there is not also either after it shows in the Puppy Bowl, it also shows during the Super Bowl, or if there is a shorter trailer that shows in the Super Bowl as well.
Wonder if it's going to be one of those things where it's the same trailer, kind of like we had the official teaser. But if you saw the official teaser before Mufasa, there's literally 2 like 1 second, 2 second clips that are included in the theatrical version. I wonder if it's going to be something like that, where it's the same trailer, but just the smallest of different edits just to get that extra push. Because when that trailer drops, it's going to be talked about for the next week, probably 2. You saw what the teaser trailer did to the internet. People are hungry for some good comic book movies right now, and DC across the board is absolutely crushing it. Absolutely crushing it. That ending is awesome. Then I couldn't help but think about the ending of. It's really good, but I couldn't help but thinking about another ending. Dun, dun, dun.
I'm not sure who he's referring to either.
I don't know. David's as I've listening to shareholders, Warner Bros. Mostly have original films this year, but if Superman is moderate success, I feel like they're not going to be enough to save the company overall. I don't know. They're in a rough place right now.
Yeah, and Disney, Fox, and Warner Brothers just canceled their streaming sports channel that they had put a lot of work into that was supposed to debut later on this year. Venue. They just canceled it.
I feel like that's a dumb idea anyway. Sports stuff should just be like tacked on to the existing streaming services.
Which is where it is. You have ESPN Plus, you have Max, which has sports now, but it was going to bring all of that and all of the Fox stuff into one place.
Yeah. I think that's dumb. I think that's a big problem with the streaming stuff. Not like, we got Max, Hulu, Disney, Paramount, the Cock. There's so many. Like, these things should be teaming up to be housing in one place.
Yeah, and one of the things I caused that, we just had Disney this week announce that they're going to invest in Fubo.
Is that like football?
No, it is kind of more like Hulu. It has like a live component and other things like that as well. So it's kind of like Hulu Live. And the reason why
is killing these companies.
The reason why they did that was because Fubo actually sued Disney and Warner Brothers and Fox over their venue thing because they claimed that it was monopolizing, and so Fubo dropped the suit. Disney invested in Fubo, and then they canceled their venue plans.
Yeah, it was cool getting a Superman trailer before Mufasa, except when my wife is like, "Are you crying?" And I was like, "I got to go to the bathroom." Back to the Andy Muschietti stuff. I don't know if you saw the talk about him talking about the Flash movie. This week he did an interview stating he has more of an understanding why the movie flopped, that it didn't reach the 4 quadrants that these companies aim for. And when you have a movie that they spent $200 million or more on, they want it to, and it needs to hit all 4 of the quadrants, those being men over and under 25 and women over and under 25. But I think it failed for more reasons than that. But man, it had a lot going against it. He did state in that outside of, and his words, not mine, or the words in the article, outside of Ezra Miller's mental issues, the film didn't hit the 4 quadrants. But that movie was destined to fail. But he went on and he's been talking about Batman projects. They were asking him about the Brave and the Bold, with it being like so far away, if he's still attached to it. And he seemingly said, yeah, that they're in a stage of kind of just talking about ideas and the tone of the Batman for the DCU, and how the Matt Reeves Batman is clearly a different Batman. So where it stands in his mind, the Brave and the Bold will be a completely different one. I know Matt Reeves has been talking a little bit. James Gunn's kind of seems like he's pushing for Pattinson.
Yeah, and Matt Reeves was asked after the Golden Globes last week why Batman 2 has been pushed off for a year, and he basically just said, because the script isn't done.
Mm-hmm. So the script's done, we can't slate it.
Right.
Can't slate it. Go back to Mark's review of the movie where I wrote how to fix the Flash, and you can't fix the actor. Flash and fundamental writing problems, absolutely. Yeah, there's still a lot about that movie that I really enjoyed. A lot about it I really enjoyed. Not even gonna lie. The CGI stuff doesn't really bugger me like it does some people. People blow my mind every time a trailer comes out. Like, it's so many comments just from just like general online audience. Oh, the CGI is terrible. Like, what are y'all talking about? Like, I don't. Some of it's bad at times. Some of it's like weaker than other things. But I don't know. I've never looked at CGI outside of like Peter Jackson's King Kong and Avatar and been like, where's the scene? Like, you can always see the scene. And believe it or not, some Snyder stuff too. Snyder's really good with.
Yeah. The only time I think I ever said, really, for the most part, the CGI was really, really bad was the Scorpion King.
Yeah. Yo, that like Nintendo 64 graphics, like the square muscles.
It's just little pixels. Little pixels.
What? What is happening? It was crazy.
That does not look anything like The Rock for the first
time. Oh, man. Oh, my gosh. Same. I actually watched it a few times. Yeah, there's a lot of redeeming qualities about the Flash movie. I couldn't watch the Flash movie again. That plot with his mom always hits me too hard. And that's what I was going to say is one of the redeeming qualities is, man, that hits, especially at the end when he says his goodbyes to her. That was rough. Also want to mention and point out, did you see the Clayton Crane cover for Absolute Flash?
Yes, you posted it too.
I did because I wanted more people to see it. So I'm not a fan of the Absolute Flash costume. That being said, Clayton Crane made it look as cool as it possibly could. Still looks like he's sporting a midriff around hyper time. I don't know if a crop top can hold up against fighting crime, but I don't know. I'm kind of hit or miss. I like the visor. I like the visor aspect of it until he gets punched in the face one good time. But I think it's just the hair. The fact that he's got the top pulled back, I really love that. I still don't understand the midriff kind of thing here. But that's a wicked cool image all the same. Clayton Crane crushed it. I know a lot of people are going to be split on this. I hope this series is good. We're not far off from Absolute Comics version 2.0 coming.
Mm-hmm.
We're all talking about the Batman movie that had Flash in it. Yeah, kind of. That cover is fire. I came back to that Flash movie a couple times. I'm not mad at giving George Clooney another crack at the bat. Dude, man, for me, like getting Nicolas Cage cameo as Superman was huge. Mm-hmm. I absolutely loved that. So much so that I ended up having to custom McFarlane figure for it. But I wish that they would have gone back and let Clayton do a cover for each of them. You know, he did the Superman one. Mm-hmm. So now he's getting the Flash. What's the sad look for?
Oh, no. Called me to come in his room.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you're crying happy tears because it's just such a good movie.
Oh my god!
Just tears rolling down his cheek.
So, Finn, did he call you back there? Or did you just walk in there?
He called me back there.
Finn called for Kyle to come back there. So, because it's Sunday, like I'm in like dictator dad mode. You know, it's bath time. I turn the TV in the living room off. While they're in the bath, make sure they get their hair washed and everything. And while they're there, I'm like, just let y'all know, y'all don't get to pick a movie tonight. I'm picking a movie and y'all are going to bed. Because if you let them pick, they end up staying up watching it and they need to know. So if you just tell them I'm turning a movie on, they'll tend to go to sleep. So I turned on The Wild Robot, which they've seen a handful of times. Is Monkey asleep? Monkey passed out. Plan worked. Yeah, plan worked. But Finn's not asleep. He called Kyle back there, and she walked back there, and she said he was sitting there bawling with tears on his face. And she walked back there and said, "Mommy, I'm not sad. I'm crying happy tears. It's so good." So our 7-year-old is just being wrecked by the wild robot right now.
Nice.
Dude, it's such a good movie. It really is. Got Tony holding out for absolute firestorm. Yeah, dude, that's how I got. Like I told Kyle when she watched it, I said, "Now wait till you watch it the second time, and you're familiar with the soundtrack. That soundtrack, it hits, dude."
I thought that you would put on a movie that would make them fall asleep, like Schindler's List.
Schindler's
or something.
List.
Didn't probably be super into that.
No. Well, it's in black and white, so he might. He'd be like, "Where's Godzilla? Is he popping up anymore?" Waiting on Godzilla to show up. Never comes, buddy.
Yeah.
Never comes. Yeah, he loves them old ones.
Can't even read them.
Yeah. Let's just hope the writing is way better in Absolute Flash than it was in the actual Flash comic run. That guy cannot write to save his life. Mark knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, absolutely. Cy Sperrier is absolutely demolished, destroyed, and just trampled on the amazing Jeremy Adams run that came before him. I will say, since we hit All In era, though, Cy Sperrier clearly listened to the feedback. I'm not even joking. There's even a cover where there's like almost like a meta level Easter egg stating like, we're fresh start, guys, fresh start. And since we hit the All In era, it is vastly different. It feels a little bit Silver Agey. You get more of the family dynamic. It's not overblown with attempts at philosophical discussions about theoretical sciences that don't exist. It's so much better. Still not great. Don't get me wrong. But we are in
Scataris,
which is cool. And we got Warlord that showed up in the last issue, and things aren't how they seem. And I like this two flashes in one place trick that he's doing. That's super cool because that gives us the ability for that tight continuity we were talking about, where he can be and appear and make appearances on the Watchtower while he's really in
Scataris,
dealing with some crazy stuff that you'd expect to see in a Silver Age comic, which is kind of fun because between Metamorpho and Flash, it's good to have that variety in your reading pile. Yeah, I wish I had time, man. I wish we could have made it to the theater to see it. Can't hit everything, unfortunately. But that's all I had in the hit list there. You got anything else you want to hit on? You want to jump into some books? I'll be honest with you. I don't know what came out this week and what stuff from last week. So you're gonna have to kind of. It was a small week.
Really, the only other two things I had was Absolute Batman, and then I had.
That was this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. See, I couldn't remember if this was this week because I remember we were talking about Junkyard Joe is back, but it was just that teaser last week.
Right.
So yeah, you get we got the first appearance of the new girl,
Ash Arden.
And could she be the other glowing man they were looking for? She's got the suit. But yeah, those were the great issue. The return of Gary Frank on interiors, which was a treat. That first page splash with Geiger smashing that dude's face in the side of the building. It starts with a fight with him taking out some crazy savages out in these wastelands, saving a family and sending them back to that oasis that they found in the last story arc. And then they're moving on with their travels and you get a little bit of flashback and stuff. But ultimately, we get to the point where Junkyard Joe shows up. I'm trying to remember what brought him. Oh, yeah. Geiger's unstable. They're just traveling, and he's having moments of like overloading with energy and exploding. And in the moment of them trying to get their bearings after one of those, Junkyard Joe just walks up on him. Nate tries to fight Joe, doesn't go his way. And we get this great one-panel shot. We learned to pay attention to these from Geiger Volume 1 when you have that one-panel flashback of Muddy. Joe has a flashback, and it's of Simon, of Redcoat. And it's of Redcoat talking about Joe, confirming, based on his hundreds of years of experience, that this creature, this metal monster, this metal man, does in fact have a soul, which is huge. Is giving him so much more character that way. We kind of see Geiger pull a feat of strength and throw a bus at Junkyard Joe, and he just picks the bus up and tosses it off of himself while Geiger kind of falls out from like heart issues, it looks like, and Joe resuscitates him. We get to see the first time Joe uses electroshock fingers, a skill set we didn't know that he had. They kind of limp their way to where they were going and find what would you call that? A fortress. Knock on the door, and the person who answers them is this character here. Who says no trespassing. Look like a female Geiger almost, and it says next issue Ash Arden. So could this be the other glowing man who cheered herself or himself? We assumed it was a guy this whole time, but
I think you might be. I mean, that's supposedly what this story arc is supposed to be, is the battle between the two glowing men or glowing people.
Yeah, switch from glowing men to glowing people. But I'm glad Joe's there. We know that we have the Northerner bouncing around, popping up, who's still a mysterious character. It looks like from the Northern armies in the Civil War, but wearing future boots, or as Peter Dinklage would call them, space boots. And that's one of my favorite SNL sketches with the space pants. Space pants. But man, it was a great issue. It was super good. Absolute Batman #4 came out this week, and Paul and I did an entire deep dive talking about not just that issue, but what's going on with Absolute Comics being so successful and such a hit and so popular. Kind of why we're looking at some of the art that we're looking at on the inside pages of this Batman book. We have a fill-in artist this week. It's not even Nick Dragotta, and we get into all of that. It was a really good discussion. We kind of went more into not just the story of Absolute Batman, but the existence of these books, and kind of get into it. Worth checking out. That'll appear on his channel at 10 a.m. tomorrow. But yeah, that was really it, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was it for this week.
Oh no, it wasn't. Oh, no. My stuff is so out of order. Did this come out this week?
No.
Well, even if it did, who cares? It's not good. I'm just being honest. Chip Zdarsky's mailing it in. It's not bad, but that's a flagship title. Come on, guys. Mm-hmm. I'm tired of flagship titles not being flagship quality. I'm still going to get it. This was a huge week for Miller World fans. Huge week. We got the finale to Nemesis Rogues Gallery, which is volume 3 technically of Nemesis. Volume 1 is not continuity. He restarted Nemesis with Nemesis Reloaded last year, the year before. Then we did Big Game, and then he moved to Dark Horse, came out swinging. 5-issue miniseries. Check it out. It's pretty wild. Of the 3 volumes, I would say it's my least favorite, but it's still worth the read. And then we got Jupiter's Legacy finale, issue number 3. Things are looking dire for our heroes. We got all the answers about everything, where they get their powers from, why they have their powers, what the alien races that gave them powers. It's very unfortunate, and it looks like there's literally nothing that they can do. They're at a point where they're up against the ropes. We're seeing an alien race basically go full anti-monitor across the cosmos and just mine all these worlds for its minerals, resources, and that includes the living creatures on the planet that they themselves put there. And these superheroes are part of their process and their plan. So all these powers and abilities are almost pointless when it comes to fighting the creatures that gave it to them. So I don't know if we're going to have anyone standing at the end of this, if this is an ultimate like crisis level thing where no one's left standing and everything just resets, and these characters that we followed for 5 volumes are just gone. Prodigy, Slaves of Mars. This is volume 3 of Edison Crane's story, Prodigy. This is the final issue. I have not read this one yet, but you know what I did read this week?
What did you read?
Year's JSA, which was fire. Was that this week?
Last week.
Like, dang it. It was so good. It's still sitting here. I went to put stuff away. I'm like, oh, man, I think that was this week. It's still in the brain.
Right. Yeah. We talked about it, I think, last week. I think, right? We talked about
with the Angels.
An Eternity Kid. And
Yeah, I'm loving that. The art in that. Yeah, look at the art in that. That's how art should look. That's like some classic modern superhero looking stuff. I will wait for the trade paperback on that Nemesis series. Perfectly fine. Yeah, I'd prefer to have them in trade. I have all the Miller World until Nemesis Reloaded in trade paperback. I even went and bought Big Game in trade paperback. I might just sell off my floppies, but yeah, I like having them in trade too because they read so fast and they're really meant to sit down and read in one go. They're written as trade paperbacks. It's like the James Patterson of the comic book world. Like you can literally sit down with a James Patterson book and read it on the beach one day. Like, and Like there's like 3-page chapters, so every 3 pages, half the page is blank. So the book isn't really that thick. It's like that to begin with. JSA going back to the well of obsidian, not having control of his powers was disappointing. But is it? Because I don't think it's obsidian. Isn't he under the control of the Injustice Society? Like that's like.
Well, no, and it was there was someone posing as him at the end of the first issue.
Yeah, it's not obsidian.
But they did have Obsidian at the real Obsidian, I thought, in issue 3 as well, unless I misread that.
I just assumed it was the same person that was posing as him back in the house, attacking Beth.
I need to go back and read it again.
That was the big reveal, right? In the end of the first one, that it wasn't Obsidian at all. And he went to, it was the guy, it was not Psychopirate, it was a Psychopirate like guy. He was,
yeah.
But he went into the room with the rest of the Injustice Society. Like he's in there just sowing deceit as Obsidian. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, but I'm wondering where Obsidian actually is. This is pretty interesting. Starting the series off with the JSA already on the ropes, like we're in the midst of their downfall, kind of thing. So I like that angle to it. But yeah, I like the fact that they're including Jade, Obsidian. We got Sand. The cast of characters in this is fantastic because we have both eras. They're not ignoring the Infinity Inc., which, why would you? You know what I mean? Like why? It's like the Jeff Johns story they did. I enjoyed fine. The delay sucked, but why are we adding all these new characters and doing all why aren't we just using the vast roster of characters that we have? But I don't know. Have a great one, John. We're heading out of here ourselves. It's about to hit 10 o'clock. I'm about to go watch Landman. I think it's the season finale tonight. I'm going to go watch that with the missus. Going to go make sure Finn's not crying too hard. And I look forward to a fantastic week. Oh, if you're watching this and you watched my DC Finest video, that DC Comics reached out to me and partnered up with me to make that video. I put it in my goals for 2025 video that I would love an opportunity to do something like that again this year, and I hope I do get that chance. Well, between last week and this week, I got that chance. DC Comics reached out to me again and asked if I wanted to partner up on a video for something that they have that they wanted to really push out there, and I did it. I recorded it this weekend. I sent it in to them, but they don't work weekends, so I have to wait till tomorrow to get the video approval, and hopefully it'll either be out tomorrow or Wednesday at the latest. We'll see. Hopefully they don't want any edits or changes because I suck at editing and hate changing things. I'm a one-take wonder. But hopefully that'll be out this week, so hopefully you'll make sure that notification bell is on to check that out. Otherwise, I do have some fun content coming this week. And remember, Tuesdays at 2 p.m. is the new DC Day stream, which just hang out and see what happens between now and then to talk about with DC Comics and run the weekly giveaway. And every Friday morning right here is the hangout stream. And then Wednesday night at what time?
9:30.
We're still doing 9:30, huh? 9:30 Eastern on Sector's channel. We'll be over there for Guess That Key returning since the holidays, and Tony Comiverse will be there, as well as Cliff continuing his birthday tour. So that'll be a fun one. Landman. Put that on and it'll put anyone to sleep just after the first 2 episodes. Big time false. You're the one person on the planet who thinks that. That show is fire, bro. It's so good. Hey, as a matter of fact, just open Paramount Plus. Tell me what the top 3 shows on Paramount Plus are right now. What's number 1? Landman. Number 2, guess.
Linus.
And number 3. It's not as new, but it's still holding number 3. Tulsa King. The Taylor Sheridan Trinity is holding 1, 2, and 3. That being said, Dexter is number 5, and Dexter Original Sin is number 7 or 8 right now, both in the top 10 as well. I'm caught up on Dexter Original Sin, and it was good. We're going to wait and get into that. Probably touch on that, kind of review the last handful of episodes next week or so. It's definitely worth talking about. I don't know if anyone else is watching Dexter, so I'm going to put out some posts and feelers this week and try to get some Dexter word out there. I know a couple people I've seen in the chat said that they were enjoying it earlier in the week, but definitely loving that. There's some wild stuff that they're adding to the origin of Dexter, which is shocking. The whole Original Sin angle is really accurate, and it's more for Harry than it is for Dexter. But Yeah. Lioness is enjoyable is the understatement of the year, and we're only 12 days into it. Congratulations, Joe. You did it for the whole year. Understatement. But that's going to do it for tonight. Appreciate everybody coming and hanging out. Hope you have a great week. And until next time, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.